A little preamble here. I wrote this review a while back around the time of a release of Black Christmas 2019. Fresh Popcorn isn't just about highlighting indie cinema. It's also about boosting the much maligned and ignored. So here is Black Christmas 2019. Of course, I waited a bit so you all would not rip me apart.
Night of the Horror presents Fresh Popcorn.
So you wouldn't know it from our regular episodes here at Night of the Horror File, but I see new horror films all the time, mostly by myself, so we don't taint a future episode of our show, which is full of spoilers, and I really don't like ruining an entire movie for someone who hasn't seen it. Plus, the whole show relies on Brittany's first time watching, so we do have to wait at least half a year before talking about newer films. So last December, Friday the 13th to be exact, I went out to see the remake of Black Christmas. You know the one that the collective grunting male Twitter population decided hated men. I say that as a joke, but I'm guilty of walking into a movie with that mindset. I had my otherwise sane outlook and open mind when it comes to movie viewing poisoned by the black goo called film Twitter. Hell, it seemed like even my hero Joe Bob Briggs was down on this film, even though that was all a misunderstanding that the same film Twitter collective warped into a whole other poison that I'd rather not explore right now. So yes, I'm ashamed to admit I saw a movie with an adopted bias. I decided before I printed my ticket out that I was there to watch trash, not good trash. And that's what I saw. A film that made me mad because it was remaking a film I loved. No, I never felt like this movie hated men in general. Hell, I hate men, so that was in the back of my mind. No, I just felt like it had no business being a movie. So like the chubby movie-going podcaster I am, I rushed home to post my feelings and conquer the web in a pursuit of the golden badge called likes. The likes that cause us as humans to digitally murder and backstab each other into getting. And you know what I'm saying. After I vented to a few people about the terrible film I had seen, I stepped into the Twittersphere and was assaulted with reviews, mostly men and girlfriends of men. No, not the normal dudes, mind you. Guys who make a joke of the Me Too movement, and those guys, same guys who kick around the phrase, she was asking for it. Now, that's not a huge surprise. We all know these people live among us. What was a surprise was the amount of people that have ways of influencing people and other people actually listening to those people's complaints. That's the horrifying part. As sickened as I usually am on social media, I dropped my complaints and decided to not even talk about Black Christmas 2019, aside from a few mentions on our main show. That turned out to be for the best because between then and now I've seen Black Christmas 2019 a total of 4 times, 3 in the theaters and once when I made a digital purchase of the 6th of that month. Why did I watch this 4 times, you might ask? Because each time my brain was less and less crowded with the vitriol I had felt. Like with most movies I don't like upon first viewing, I make myself revisit them at least a few times before I make up my mind. Setting is everything. You don't want to drop acid while riding a roller coaster, and you don't want to watch Black Christmas 2019 with a crowd that is geared to dislike and make fun of it. Not that hooting and hollering at the cinema screen can't be fun. Just look at the Rowdy Cats viewings. No, it's more of the fact that this movie does have some very good writing and directing. It's a good movie. You just have to check your holdups at the door, really. So let me break down my feelings on Black Christmas 2019 after I dropped my own haze of stupid. So when Black Christmas starts, we are greeted with a quote from Calvin Hawthorne. No, Calvin's not a real person. He is a fictional founder of the university where this entire movie takes place. Not unlike the original, this Black Christmas stays on campus. We begin, like most horror films, with a girl walking home from a party. She then discovers she is being followed. She has a few fake outs and then is butchered. Well, butchered is kind of the wrong word. She's killed, but not graphically. This movie was clearly meant to maybe have more punch to its gore, or honestly gore at all. That's really my only problem here. I feel like it could have used some Crimson in the Snow. So did April Wolf, I read, the film's co-writer, who explained on Twitter that the film was written for an R, and there was some groovy blood, but test audiences clearly showed it should be toned down for a younger crowd. Now, I'm okay with that. Honestly, some of the best horror films I've ever seen have barely any blood at all. So, okay, no bloodbath here. That's cool. What's left to sink our teeth into, then? Let's talk about the film's subtext. The thing everyone was so afraid of going into this flick about. So let me start by saying that one of the most common asshole reviews statements always centered on this is feminist hate. Always centered on that. That this film is just a way for its writers to hate on us poor men. Don't we just have it rough? First off, if you're a white cisgendered beer-swilling gun-owning man, then you've never had it rough. And if you are having it rough, take a step back and evaluate yourself, because I assure you it's all your fault. Okay, that's out of the way. Not once in any of my viewings did I get the feeling that the writers hated me. In fact, I felt quite the opposite. As a normal, peaceful, sane man who owns no guns, I felt that they were trying to teach me something here. Okay, I get what you're saying. But Lee, I don't want to be taught. This is a horror movie. Well, yeah, it is. But it's also art. And the artist is giving us all a lesson here. So shut the fuck up. Here's what I took from this when I read real deep into the subtext. Y'all all know how I do that. Women don't want me as their savior. They don't need me to rescue them. They need me to stop and ask them what they need from me. That's right. What do I need to do to be an ally and help out? Now, that's just the lesson I took away. Young girls might feel empowered by this. They may feel connected to these characters. I'll say I'm not sure because, again, I'm a chubby podcasting guy. What I do know is that even women who didn't enjoy this film were forced to defend it against the asshats of the internet. Because in the end, it does have some great messages here. It's an empowering film that comes from frustration. The frustration that women deal with on the daily. The frustration that no one else is going to get but them. And that's okay, because there is an actual horror movie here. Let's get out of the subtext town, because if you know me, I can stay there for years. I hear you. What's up, Lee? Is this a good horror movie? I didn't come for a fucking lecture. Okay, safe to say, if you're a horror fan, there's plenty to love here. Get over the whole this shouldn't have been a movie or this should have been rated R and just vibe with the film, man. Sofia Takal and April Wolf clearly love horror, and honestly, they even love the first Black Christmas. There was a point where I started thinking of this as a sequel to the original Bob Clark classic, and if you don't dive into it so hard, it's kind of cool that way. But that's not saying you need to think of it as a sequel to enjoy it. There are nods to classic horror movie moments all throughout the film, including an homage to The Exorcist 3, which made me kind of giddy because no one else talks about that movie. It's a wild film. We go from melodrama to slasher to action to supernatural horror. It's one of the most original things I've seen put to film in a long time. So yes, to shorten my response, this is a pretty good movie. All right, so I've been rambling. Let's cut to the chase. Like the frat boys out to kill the sorority women, I was being a dick, and I didn't give this film the fair chance it needed. But I urge you to give Black Christmas a second chance. I guarantee you'll have a good time, because it is indeed a batch of fresh popcorn. Check out Black Christmas today on VOD and physical media. Thank you. I'm Lee Evans for Night of the Horror File, and this has been Fresh Popcorn. If you want your project featured on Fresh Popcorn, drop us a line on Twitter or through email at horrorfilemailbag@gmail.com.